The new parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're back for episode number 12 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We have some upgrades going on the car, I believe, the engine power and also a weight reduction upgrade. So the engine one we've been waiting for weeks. Got knocked back last episode and now we finally have it on the car and it's going to make a significant amount in power. So we don't really see it too much in this episode being the Hungarian Grand Prix, but when we get to Spa and Monza we will certainly feel it. But looking at the comparison there, we are right there with the upper midfield, and I can't wait to take the fight to those guys, and maybe even to, not Red Bull, Ferrari, if we're lucky.
The excitement is starting to build here at the Hungaroring as the lights are about to go green for today's qualifying session. We expect some cars out on track any moment now.
So here we are for qualifying one, just jumping straight into things. Coming through the final corner, this should be a fairly solid lap. We come across the line, it is a 17 flat. But when we compare that against the rest of the field, we're 1.8 seconds off pole, which is quite a long way. We haven't been this far from the pace since maybe the start of the season. Red Bull, given all the upgrades that they've made recently, when they come to this circuit, it just absolutely suits their car down to a T. So they're the best part of half a second to 7/10 ahead of Mercedes. That's how dominant they are at this circuit. It's absolutely mad. But having to do a second run here in Q1, I thought my time would have been good enough, but I think we were just shy of the delta by maybe about 2 or 3 tenths. So we have to go out for another lap. We're currently up by 2 tenths here as we go through the final corner. Last throw of the dice, and across the line it is 2.5 tenths just about, and it just gets us through to qualifying 2. Pretty scary moment there for the Mercedes guys. Running the soft compound tyre for qualifying. There's 2 compounds difference between the qualifying tyre and the middle compound this weekend. And Mercedes almost getting caught out. Raikkonen, though, wasn't so lucky. He is out on a 16.8. So, very, very unlucky for him. Red Bulls, like I said, they were 5 tenths to 7 tenths quicker than everyone else. Albeit that Mercedes were running on a harder compound. But even still, I don't think Mercedes can even match it with Red Bull this weekend. That is how scary their pace is. Qualifying 2 now, we set a banker of a 17.4, and I did that on my first set of tyres from Q1. But we're going out again on a fresh set here in Q2, right at the end of the session. Pretty much no fuel on board, and we're just going to have one crack at it. So, yeah, hopefully it's good enough. The pace on Friday practice was okay. Qualifying 1, not so great. We only just squeezed through, so maybe this is a circuit that doesn't really suit us all too much. But, I would have thought that, given the results of late, our downforce feels pretty good. The car feels really nice and high speed, but it's not really coming together this weekend. But you can see on this lap so far, we're up by 7 tenths. Absolutely nailing this lap so far, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 corners where I ran wide onto a bit of curbing. But otherwise, it's been a near-on perfect lap. 1 second up as we go through the final corner. This will be a low 16, and this should get us through to qualifying 3, and it does. P7, displacing Roman Grosjean outside the top 10, and he is knocked out. So too is our teammate. He did a 17 flat. So, new wheel, new upgrades. It all seems to be working. It's hard to tell whether the wheel is making the difference or whether it's the upgrades and the fact that we're seeing a case like in 2017 where the teammate can't really stay with you once upgrades are applied. I really hope that's not the case, and I hope it's maybe the wheel that is at play for this. But otherwise, we seem to be outperforming Charles Leclerc in 1 lap pace as of late, which is interesting to see. But once again, he's going to be starting outside the top 10. He's going to have free range of tyre. Given that we're on a set of tyres that are 2 compounds softer, we're definitely going to have to do the 2-stop in the race, which will limit us and maybe put us at threat of guys outside the top 10. But otherwise, pace looks pretty solid. There's absolutely no catching the Red Bulls this weekend. Not that the chances of us doing that anyway were there, but heading into the race, I'm hoping we can get another top 5. I think I'd be pretty happy with that. So let's go to the Grand Prix.
It's always wonderful to come back to the lively Hungaroring. A popular destination this, nice and close to the beautiful city of Budapest, with some exciting racing to boot. Who can forget Michael Schumacher pushing his old teammate Rubens Barrichello up towards the pit wall in 2010, or those great races of 2014 and 2015 as well. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, and Alonso, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Mr. Monaco, and Roman Grosjean. Sainz, Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, and Perez. Raikkonen, Gasly, Brendan Hartley, and Lance Stroll. Sirotkin and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid.
We're in a better grid position than we were expecting. Let's see if we can hold on to it.
Thanks, Jeff. Welcome, guys, to the Hungarian Grand Prix. A lot of grid penalties for some drivers up and down the field. Promotes myself and also my teammate up the order a little bit. But in terms of the race strategy, 2 stops is on the cards. Look at the alternate strategy. It wants me to do 3 stops, but that is 16 seconds slower. And when you compare that to some people like my teammate, potentially, who are going to be doing a 1 stop, that is completely out of the equation. But looking at this Hungarian Grand Prix and just some of the races we've had lately, I do like the tyre strategy that FIA have been implementing. Having a qualifying tyre that's 2 compounds softer than the race compounds, essentially. It definitely makes for some interesting strategies, and it keeps the midfield in play, which definitely keeps things interesting for someone like myself, who is probably not quite at the level of the front runners. 5 red lights and away we go for this Hungarian Grand Prix. It's been an ideal start once again. Rich Rev's hot lap is engaged, and we'll see if we can move up this field. Alonso looks like he's smoking a little bit as we head into turn 1. We'll see if we can get up the inside of a couple of guys. That is P7 for the taking. Look at Alonso mixing it with these front runners in F1. He's winding back the clock. It is lovely to see. But him and Bottas are going side by side. We're going to see if we can make the most of this. He's going to go up the inside of him again. Compromise his run, and we're going to go to the outside as we head into the middle sector. We're on the grass here, no less. 3 wide into a 1-line corner, and we come out on top in P5. What a start to this Hungarian Grand Prix. Took my chances. It was a huge risk. I could have completely understeered wide or even spun off to some degree, but we made the move stick. And not Alonso, that's Lewis Hamilton now leading the Grand Prix off the start there. So the Red Bulls have it all to do in this race, and overtaking doesn't really come natural for the AI. But here's the replay of us around the outside, 2 wheels on the grass. I'm surprised that the car even had the grip to turn in for that corner, and we got it done. Lewis Hamilton leads, sets the fast start of the Grand Prix. Like I said, there's a huge air gap now to Verstappen in P4. And to be honest, P5 is probably the maximum we can get in this race, provided that there are no reliability issues for the AI. Even still, I think P5 is still going to be a really tough result to grab in this Grand Prix. Alonso is still challenging us for this position. And behind him, you've still got Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. So, yeah, even with reliability issues, I think P5 is going to be a great result in this Grand Prix. But anyway, like I said, Bottas, huge threat in this race. He gets past Alonso and just as quickly gets past us. And he is now taking our position away from us. Meanwhile, some of the leaders made their stops. I think one of the Red Bulls dived in, and so too one of the Ferraris. So, yeah, it's coming together very quickly in this Grand Prix, as is always the case when you have a tyre compound that is so much softer than the normal race compounds. The race leaders like to get off those as quickly as possible.
In this lap, push now.
But at the same time, it puts them in the traffic so much and they get held up. And a track like Hungary, it's so hard to overtake. If you're stuck behind someone in the middle sector, you can lose maybe 1 second to 2 seconds in just 1 lap alone. Like, look at what Lance Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin were doing last episode in the German Grand Prix. The trains that they were holding up, simply by them staying out longer in the Grand Prix. So that's what I'm employing. I'm trying to stay out a little bit longer. I know that there's maybe not too much of a benefit due to undercut, due to how much traffic there's going to be out there. So I thought I'd elongate the stint, and we'll play ourselves in a little bit later. We'll definitely catch up, that's for sure, but it's just a case of unlocking the pace to get there. So there's Alonso. There is us about 2 seconds off. and we'll see if we can catch up in the next 10 or so laps. But we're getting challenged by Hulkenberg now into turn 1. I tried to go in as late as possible to defend, but I basically just screwed myself over there. Hulkenberg got the switchback, and that was pretty much it. So he's got P16. I don't really know where we are effectively in this Grand Prix. There's Hulkenberg now catching up to, surprise, surprise, a Williams, which looks like it really has a problem. You would think it's got some kind of mechanical problem, or it's got no front wing, but no, he's just driving around normally on dead tyres. It's insane. We get Hulkenberg because he gets stuck behind the mobile chicane that is Sergei Sorokin, and now we're going to see if we can bang him around the outside here into the final corner. Can't quite get that done, so we'll have to wait for DRS. Rich fuel mixture, overtake, let's go. freepositionmeup.com/see you later Williams. P14. Next up is Alonso. He got like a laps undercut, maybe 2 laps, and like I said, he's right there. So his benefit that he got by diving in early means nothing. And we're going to have fresher tyres, we're going to have better pace for the rest of the Grand Prix, and better tyre flexibility in the later stints. But Alonso looks like he's got a problem. He's taken out Nico Hulkenberg in the process, and he's just trying to slow the car down, but he's done it on the racing line and caused an absolute kerfuffle back there. Hulkenberg is out of the Grand Prix, he's lost a wheel, and that is really, really unfortunate. Safety car has been deployed. We've gone, what, 10 races in this Formula 1 season without even seeing a safety car, and now we have 2 in 2 races. So, Charlie has woken up, the safety car has woken up, and now this race can wake up in some degree as well with a strategy. I decided not to pit there because I saw the Williams of Stroll dive in, and I'm like, no, I don't really want to be part of that. So I'll stay out. I'll go against the grain. I'm like normally a huge advocate of diving into the pits whenever a safety car comes out, sometimes even unnecessarily, but I thought this time I'll value track position. I'll see what we can do. It's so hard to overtake here, especially for the AI, and see if we can stretch these tyres, not to the end of the race, but we're going to do a 2-stop, but maybe switch to ultra soft tyres later on. We'll have to wait and see. I'm guessing that everyone else has to make another stop again unless they're on the mediums, like some people around us are, like my teammate and Sebastian Vettel. But I'd say that my teammate hasn't stopped yet, but rejoining in the race now, you can see we lost the position to Vettel. The tyre temps were nowhere. The rear tyres were just stone cold dead, so I had nothing really to fight with until the tyres switched on about half a lap into that restart. But by the time that they switched on, everyone was gone, so that was pretty frustrating. So carrying on with this race, there's 15 laps left to go. I'm thinking I'm going to stop in about 5 laps and put on the ultra soft tyres to go to the end and really attack the guys on the outer edges of the top 10. But you know, given the fact that we haven't stopped during that safety car, we have lost a lot of time and we will lose a lot of positions later, but I'm hoping we can gain them back with good car pace at the end. But it doesn't really help us at the moment that we're getting overtaken by Verstappen. We're getting kind of held up by engaging in all these battles, and to be fair, the pace after the restart was a lot worse than I was anticipating. We just seem to be going backwards and even starting to fall into the clutches of the guys in the midfield, which is really, really worrying. But lap 25 now, we've made it to our pit window. We're going to be stopping potentially at the end of this lap. Bottas flies past us now and demotes us to P8. So what was looking like a P5 at best at the start of the Grand Prix is now turned into maybe P8 if we're lucky. But it was about this point of the Grand Prix where I started to notice an issue with my real life wheel. It got to a point where I would accelerate out of a traction zone and the upshifter wasn't working. Either there would be a delay in the upshift, or I would do a double shift when I go to shift. And so that was really knocking around my pace and my confidence, especially in the final 5 or so laps of this race. I started to notice it about a lap or 2 before the pit stop, but then it just got worse and worse and worse. And it even affected me there leaving the pit lane. I was pressing the upshift, but nothing was happening. It went nowhere, so I'm not too sure what to say about this. It's a brand new wheel. I've had this for like 2 days, and I'm already seeing issues with the upshifter. Like right there, that was really bad. Like just banging on the rev limiter for a second or 2. And like I said, it gets worse and worse and worse. So I'm not too sure what to do about this. I don't know if this is just a one-off, whether I just need to do a hard reset of the wheel, update the firmware. The downshifting was fine, every other button was fine, just the upshift. And I could feel the positive click when I was pressing it, but sometimes nothing was just happening. So, really odd. We then had a lap or two where we didn't really have any issues. We caught up to Sirotkin, and we got him around the outside into P16. But the problem that I was having was just so distracting from the fact that I had to get on with it and lap at a decent pace. It was just so distracting. And when you'll also notice that when I come into braking zones, I'm also accelerating, or the accelerator is still going, but I think that's probably just down to me still being distracted at what's happening at the moment. But anyway, it's P16, a huge blunder in the pit stops, not pitting under safety car, means we lost all that time, and we never really switched it on the Ultras either. P16.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So here come our winning drivers today, and what a race it was. There's been a big push at the factory lately to get these cars ready, and we can see the fruits of that labour today as Red Bull lift the winner's trophy.
So Red Bull come back to win the Grand Prix after, I think Lewis Hamilton was leading the Grand Prix quite early on. Double podium for those guys. For us, it was just a really frustrating day. Just killed my race, not pitting under safety car. Everyone else went to the end. I'm guessing they all went to mediums and just stuck it out till the end. Lewis Hamilton finished 8th place after leading. Are you serious? Wow. So I'm guessing maybe he did something very similar to what I did and not stop under safety car. But there we go. Charles Leclerc at least flies a flag for Sauber. He gets P7. Yeah. Even still, with the issues that we had with our wheel, I think the real nail in the coffin today was just the blunder in strategy. Thankfully, we don't lose any positions in the drivers or the constructors. Charles doing a great job for us, just keeping that ticker going along in terms of the points. So good to see that still continues, and the pace was there. Maybe if we were on the right strategy there with Charles, we could have been right with him. But otherwise, great day for one half of the garage. For the other, not so much. I mean, we've had a great season so far. We've had so many consistent point scoring finishes, some in positions where we really shouldn't have finished, like on the podium or like inside the top 5 in some places. Today was a day where fortune was just not on our side. But in terms of resource points, we now have 1,000 resource points, so we're going to spend a few of those. We did not pass the hard objective of 15 drivers points in 2 races, so a big loss there. Hopefully in the next one we can get it.
Here we can adjust the terms of our proposal. The more ambitiously we set our targets, the more willing the team will be to give us better perks. We'll have a few chances to suggest a deal, but we need to be careful. If a proposed contract exceeds your value to the team, it will be rejected, and too many attempts will leave us stuck with the original offer.
Okay, so pretty bad timing, to be honest. We have another contract renewal negotiation to go through. We're going to push for more resource points, see if we can get that. We're also going to go for pit stop efficiency. With these first 2 approaches, I tried to be as aggressive as what I possibly could to try and get everything out of the contract. But in the end, this is what we settled on.
Okay, that proposal looks good. It seems all parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
So we've gone for level 1 pit stop efficiency, level 2 race bonus. We've now gone for level 3 on upgrade speed. So everything now, whether it be minor, major, or ultimate upgrades, are now reduced by 1 week. Simultaneous development is still the same at level 1. But otherwise, still first driver. We still have hard team goals. We have to finish 9th in the race to impress the team, and 11th in qualifying. So we're up in the qualifying performances. Basically, we need to get into Q3 now pretty much every race to impress the team. Shouldn't be too hard given our recent performances, but you know, if ever we're just not quite at 100%, or the setup isn't quite there, or the AI just seem to be performing a little bit better than what they normally are, that's when the tides turn, and it's going to be very difficult to meet those objectives. But otherwise, we're going to do a major upgrade to weight reduction, and that's going to see a massive improvement to the overall balance of the car. It's going to help in all aspects, straight line speed, tyre wear, cornering ability. It's going to be great, and I can't wait for that to go on the car. So that's going to be 2 weeks away. Not the Belgian Grand Prix, but it should be on in time for Monza. But guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. There's plenty more F1 2018 content. And until the next race, the Belgian Grand Prix, I'll see you next time.